Her phone suddenly rang. The time was 2:47 a.m., an unknown number. But she decided to answer.
Hello?
Welcome to a world of darkness and mystery, where nothing is as it seems. And even the simplest things can be the most terrifying. Today, I will tell you a story that began with a phone call and ended in a living nightmare that will never be forgotten. Get ready! The night is long, and the shadows are watching. The protagonist of this story is Amanda Carter, a 24-year-old American college student in her final year at Portland University, where she studied psychology. Amanda was passionate about her field, especially about human behavior and psychological disorders. But what she didn't know was that she would soon experience a terrifying psychological event beyond any logical explanation. Amanda Carter lived with her parents in San Diego, California. As an only child in a middle-class family, her father worked as a software engineer, and her mother was an elementary school teacher. She had a stable and good relationship with her parents, though not particularly close on an emotional level. There were no major conflicts between them, but since childhood, Amanda had always been independent, preferring to solve her problems on her own without seeking her parents' help. After finishing high school, she was accepted into Portland University in Oregon to study psychology, a field she had always been interested in. Without hesitation, she decided to move away from her family and start university life, feeling that living alone would be a better experience for her self-development. She considered herself an independent girl, eager to face life on her own, away from the routine of family life. Her father, David Carter, was often busy with work. He wasn't the type to express emotions easily, but he always supported her decisions. He encouraged her ambitions, but believed that moving far away was a rushed and risky decision. However, he didn't stop her. Instead, he promised to always be there if she needed him. Her mother, Mary Carter, was more cautious and worried about Amanda. She constantly tried to stay in touch, asking Amanda to call or text her daily. The idea of her daughter living alone in another city made her uneasy. But Amanda felt her mother was too controlling and hated feeling monitored. She avoided frequent communication, often replying late or with short messages. Over time, their conversations became less frequent, making her mother feel that Amanda was gradually drifting away. At 19, she moved to Portland and began her new life in the university dorms. After 2 years, at 21, she decided to leave the dorms and rent a small apartment in a quiet residential complex near downtown. The stress of studying and working part-time at the university library made it hard to concentrate in the crowded dorms. At first, living alone was exciting. She enjoyed staying up late watching movies, reading books, and exploring the city freely. But she never imagined that this decision would lead her to a terrifying experience that would change her life forever. It was a dark and cold winter night. The sky was covered with thick clouds and fog wrapped around the empty streets. Amanda returned to her apartment after a long day of studying and work. It was past 1 a.m. and the city was drowned in silence. She made herself a cup of coffee and sat on the couch to watch a movie before going to bed. As Amanda relaxed in the dimly lit room, her phone suddenly rang. The time was 2:47 a.m. She glanced at the screen. An unknown number. A slight unease crept over her, but she decided to answer. Hello? No response. Just complete silence. Then, She heard heavy breathing, slow and unsettling. She tried to ignore it, but a shiver ran down her spine. Then, in a whispering voice, the caller said, "Don't open the door." Amanda's heart pounded. She quickly hung up the phone. And then, just seconds later, knocking on the door. "No way! This can't be a coincidence," she thought. She cautiously approached the door and peered through the peephole. No one was there. As she took a step back, her phone rang again. The same number. This time, she didn't answer. Instead, she received a text message. "You didn't listen. He's inside." Amanda felt her heart stop. She looked around. Everything seemed normal, but a creeping sense of dread filled her mind. Could there really be someone inside her apartment? She was sure she had locked the door. She moved slowly toward her bedroom. But then, she heard it. Heavy footsteps, coming from the kitchen, trembled as she locked her bedroom door and grabbed her phone. She dialed 911 and whispered, "There's someone in my apartment. I don't know how they got in." The officer on the line told her to stay quiet and not make a sound. Police were on their way. But she couldn't stop shaking, especially when the footsteps stopped right outside her bedroom door. Then, she heard something chilling, scratching. Long, sharp scratches against the wood. Minutes felt like an eternity, until she finally heard sirens outside, followed by loud knocks on her front door. The police burst in. When they entered her bedroom, there was no one there. But what they found was even stranger. Her bedroom door was covered in long, deep scratches, as if someone had been trying to claw their way in. Every window and door was still locked. There was no sign of forced entry. And when they checked Amanda's phone, they made a terrifying discovery. The last call she received was from her own number. A mystery that remains unsolved. Despite investigations, no evidence of an intruder was found. No security camera footage showed anyone entering or leaving the building. The case was closed due to a lack of suspects. After that horrifying night, Amanda couldn't stay in that apartment any longer. She moved back to her parents' house in California, leaving her studies behind. For the first time in her life, she felt like she needed them. She finally found the safety she never realized she was missing. To this day, there is no explanation for who the caller was, or how someone, or something, got into her apartment. No security footage, no suspects, no rational answer. But the real question is, if Amanda was alone in the apartment, who left the scratches on the door? Who was the mysterious caller? Was he trying to warn her? Or was he the danger himself? And how was the call made from her own number? Was there an unseen entity trying to protect her? Or was the intruder something that shouldn't exist in this world? And now I ask you, dear listener, do you believe Amanda's experience was supernatural? Or is there a more terrifying explanation? If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to support the channel by liking and subscribing for more horror tales. I am Nightshade, and I'll return with another story soon. Until then, remember, the shadows are always watching you, even in the safest places. Sleep well, if you can.